Here we go, Steeler Nation. We just got out of Pittsburgh's 38-3 loss to the Buffalo Bills. Kenny Pickett in his first NFL start, I thought looked okay, but there was a ton of negatives in this game. We're going to get into all the action today. But before we get into anything, I want to know your one-word reaction to today's game. For me personally, that one word is embarrassed. Seriously, this was a humiliating loss. I saw some good things in this one. But whenever you lose by over 30 points, it was just a straight up joke today, guys. Let's look at the matchup today. Josh Allen absolutely ripped our defense apart today. Over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Kenny Pickett, he did do pretty well today. We'll get into more with him today, but 327 yards and a pick, no touchdowns, obviously. This was just a very, very disappointing game. To go 1-4 on the season, I'm at a loss of words because I came into this one hoping to see a lot more good. And although there was some good, there was definitely a lot more bad. So let's get into the injury report for this game. Pat Freiermuth left the game with a concussion. And we know with everything with the NFL right now, we don't know when he's going to be back. He could be missing a week, and he is a big part of this passing offense. So losing him is a big blow to this offense. And then also Levi Wallace, who had some good moments in here, gave up that 98-yard touchdown to Gabe Davis in the first drive of the game to Josh Allen. But, this cornerback room is already very, very light. And now that we're losing Levi Wallace potentially for another week with a concussion, it's looking like we might need to add a cornerback or a DB here coming up in the week. We'll probably dive into that as the week goes on. But yeah, it's just very, very disappointing. I want you guys to let me know how worried you are about the Steelers' injuries as a whole. Terrell Edmunds, TJ Watt, now we add Freiermuth and Levi Wallace to that mix. It does not sound good. And without further ado, let's go into my takeaways for today's game. Number one is that the offense actually looked pretty good with Pickett. It looked better. Like Pickett was hitting his guys. He threw for 65% completion percentage today. Over 300 yards, had to throw over 52 times, and he was throwing all second half. The defense knew that he was throwing the entire second half, and he looked good. There was multiple opportunities on third down that I thought that he really delivered accurate passes. There was definitely some moments, Deontay Johnson, we're going to get into him later in the show, but Kenny Pickett looked good. The offense did not. Let's put it that way. So I think that this is a team that they can win games with. I think that with Pickett under center, with this offense, if this is the offense that we are going to see for the rest of the season, I think the Steelers can win some ball games. I think that this offense is going to look a lot better in the coming weeks in terms from a scoring perspective. I think on third down, they're going to be a lot better. In the red zone, they're going to be a lot better in the coming weeks. But let me know what you guys think about Kenny Pickett's first start as a Pittsburgh Steeler today by liking today's video if you thought that he did okay. Personally, I think he did all right. I think the defense let us down. I think Mike Tomlin's decision-making in terms of going for field goals instead of going for it on fourth really hurt us today. And then also the wide receiver room definitely didn't help Pickett today either. So the number two takeaway that I have today is that we need TJ Watt back on defense, man. Josh Allen had a clean pocket all day long today. And let's get into some news here from Adam Schefter that came out yesterday, and that's that TJ Watt's return from a torn pec is going to be delayed a couple weeks because he got surgery, and it's going to delay his return another 1 or 2 weeks. So we were expecting him around week 7 or so. Now it's going to be delayed to potentially after the bye. And you look at our defense now, the way it is, we're not getting pressure on the quarterback. Josh Allen had all day to throw those deep passes to guys like Khalil Shakir, Gabe Davis, of course, Stephon Diggs. He had all day to throw. And without TJ Watt, this defense just can't operate successfully. We need him back as soon as possible, but I don't necessarily blame him for getting surgery. He's taking care of his body. But at the end of the day, it really hurts not having him out there on the field. So what would be the Steelers' record if TJ Watt wasn't hurt? This is a burning question that's been on my mind because we've been in some close games. The Patriots game was close. We were in the Browns game for most of the game. Obviously, the Jets game came down to the wire. Now, and then, of course, we beat Cincinnati in week 1, and then, of course, today's blowout. But personally, I think the Steelers would be 3-2 right now. I think we'd be 3-2 without TJ Watt. And personally, I'm going to reiterate, I don't blame TJ Watt for getting surgery. He's taking care of his body. He's taking care of the longevity of his career. I don't blame him whatsoever for taking care of his body. But in terms of the Pittsburgh Steelers, we are missing him dearly right now. We're not getting enough pass rush. Now let's look at the first 5 games of the 2022 season so far. It's been pretty disappointing. We beat the Bengals in week 1, 23-20. Good win there with TJ Watt. And then these next 4 games without him, 3-point loss to New England at home. Then we stayed with the Browns for most of the game, but then ended up losing by 2 scores. Then week 4 against the Jets, obviously losing by that touchdown, that last-second touchdown. If we have TJ Watt on the team, what would our record be? I think we'd be 3-2. I think we'd be 3-2, and we'd be sitting in a much better spot. I think that's really where the Steelers are in terms of their roster, in terms of the production that they've had on both offense and defense. I think we should be a 3-2 team if we had our star defensive player of the year, edge rusher, but we don't have him right now, and that's really made the difference. And I think specifically the New England game and the Jets game. I think if we have him on the field, we might have a different outcome, and we would have a much more hopeful outlook on the rest of the season now. But now we're at 1-4, and it's not looking too good. So my number 3 takeaway in today's game is that George Pickens is the wide receiver 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. He made that incredibly clear today. He had 6 receptions for 83 yards. He looked really good coming out of his cuts. Obviously, the body control is fantastic. His hands are great. He is the next superstar wide receiver for this franchise. I cannot wait to see Pickett and Pickens grow together here over the next couple years and really become one of those dynamic duos that you see in the NFL today. And then we look at Deontay Johnson, who's really, he came into the year expected to be that guy, expected to be the wide receiver 1. And today he had 5 receptions for 60 yards, which on paper isn't bad, but he had multiple opportunities on 3rd down to make plays today. He had 2 drops, and he had 2 plays where he couldn't get his feet in bounds on really well-placed passes by Kenny Pickett. And those 4 plays really ended up making a huge difference in allowing the Bills to get the ball and just chuck it down the field. And before we knew it, we were down by like 24 points, and the game was over. Okay, guys, this is the part in the show where I ask you to subscribe to Steelers Talk. We have free and daily Steelers news and rumors videos here on the channel. So help us get to 19,000 subscribers today by clicking that big red button you know you want to. And my last takeaway from today's blowout loss is it's desperation time for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We need to win, and we need to win a lot of games and quickly. We need to get on a run, and we need to get back on this road to 500 and begin to put ourselves back in the playoff race. And if we don't do it over the next 3 weeks, I think we're definitely going to be committing to a rebuild season. Here's the next 3 games on our schedule. We're playing against the Buccaneers at home next week. Then we're playing the Dolphins on the road in Week 7 on Sunday Night Football. And then we play the Philadelphia Eagles on the road. These are 3 very good teams. These are definitely going to be 3 playoff teams. So in my opinion, I think we need to win at least 2 of these games. We need to go 2 out of 3 over the next couple of weeks. If we can beat 2 out of these 3 playoff caliber teams and we go into the bye at 3-5, I think that there is still hope for the playoffs. Call me crazy that we could make a run in the second half of the season, but the schedule does soften up a bit. And if we can get to 3-5, get out of the bye, bring back TJ Watt so our defense can be back to normal, I think we could make a run and potentially make a run for it. Now, the AFC is very tough. It's going to be a tough go of it now. Losing 4 games in a row, that's like a death sentence in the NFL. But if we can win 2 out of these next 3 weeks against either the Bucs, the Dolphins, or the Eagles, I think we can get to 3-5, and we can potentially make a run for the playoffs. Okay, guys, this is the part in the show where I ask you to go follow me on Twitter. If you love Steelers news and analysis, if you want Kenny Pickett All-22 film analysis, that's where I put my film analysis on my Twitter account. So if you want all 22 film breakdown every single week on Kenny Pickett to see how he's doing throughout the season. Go follow me on Twitter. It's Jack_Sperry. I also live tweet every single Steelers game, so if you don't want to wait for my post-game reaction, go follow me on Twitter and you can get my live reactions as the game is going on. Until next time, guys, I appreciate you, Steeler Nation. You are the best fans in the NFL. And until next time, peace.